Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our YouTube channel. We are a community focused on the intellectual and character development of children. We do that through our parent-child workshops that focus around 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. Project Purpose's overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild families, communities, and relationships. Our YouTube channel provides a platform where we can discuss all topics that relate to families, communities, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the structures of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. Our discussions and debates provide us a forum to think critically about what needs to change within these structures in order for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. Valuing our children's leadership potential also translates as recreating and co-creating our environments socially and politically in order for our children to thrive. Now, as is the YouTube convention, please do subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you're aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like the conversation and you want to keep it going, like, comment, and share this video. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, I've decided to get cozy and all nestled in. I needed the back support. I mean, I love sitting on the floor and meditating and doing yoga. But these videos don't happen in one take, and I'm sure that you've seen, I started having to adjust my back throughout the videos because it was just so much time trying to sit and maintain a good posture. I decided to switch things up a bit by way of ambience. I hope you like it. And then I can sit nice and cozy as we chat. I'm excited about this video. I've thought a lot about the structure of these videos, and I thought that maybe if I'm going to do 2 videos a week, I'll do them aligned with a theme. So we have 3 sort of streams within this channel. We have mental wellness, we have mental health, and we have education. So what I'm going to try to do is every week I'll put out 2 videos that align with those specific themes. So I wanted to start with mental wellness. That's where we ended off. So the 2 videos this week will be about mental wellness, and then the 2 videos next week will be about education, and then the subsequent week will be about mental health, because we're about education, because that is about growth and evolution. Yes. Oh, welcome to 2021. I really hope that it's off to a great start for you and that you are kicking off the year with some added zest for life, because the new year means new fire. I love the new year. I have this new year glow that lasts at least the first 2 to 3 months of every year, because I have set up my goals for this year. And so I do it in 2 folds. I'm someone who's very into New Year's resolutions. I take them very seriously, actually. And I do about 25 a year, and these range across several different buckets. But what I will share with you is my theme. So my theme for 2020 was enlightenment. So all the goals sort of aligned with that theme. And my theme for this year is actualization. And I don't typically share a whole lot about what my New Year's resolution goals are, because they're for me. They're not necessarily, I don't do them for clout. I don't do them for, popularity. So they're things that I keep to myself until maybe the end of the year. But what I will share are my birth year resolutions, and I'll share that with you shortly. So this video itself is about how to protect your time. And I think it's something that we all talk about. There's lots of, conversations around energy management, around time management, and I think it really plays into how we have conversations about assertion and how to be assertive and how to communicate boundaries. I think, when we talk about assertiveness and communicating boundaries, all of that tie into how we value our time. So I think what I want to do is start at the very top, at the very, the umbrella. Let's talk about time and how we value it. And the way that I'm going to approach this conversation is with my resolutions, because that is how I focus my energy for the year. So I put a lot of time and effort into building out my resolutions for the year. The theme itself is something that I put a lot of thought into. So if this theme is actualization, then it means that I need to focus my energy on things that will actualize some of the ideas that I've been nesting over the last little while. And it also gives me clarity. New Year's resolutions give me clarity as to where I want my time to go, where I want my focus to be, and it helps me say no. It is the boundary by which it is my guiding light. My New Year's resolutions is my guiding light as to where I invest my time throughout the year. And I think that it's a great way to start to shift our thinking about time management being this very specific skill set. I think time management happens when you know what you'd like to do with your time, where you value where you put your time, and then you create language that communicates that value with other people. All of us have goals, all of us have, things that we'd like to accomplish, but if we don't have the language, if we don't have the clarity and the focus to know where our energy needs to go on a day-to-day basis, we find ourselves sometimes allowing it to kind of float with the wind or allowing it to waste away, which is not a good thing. So, why do I theme my New Year's resolutions? Well, I theme them for one reason. I like the theme because the theme is sort of like a beacon. And it's the beacon that I use throughout days, weeks, months within 2021 that will inform my choices and also inform my decisions. All of what I will do this year will be supported by this theme. And all of what I choose not to do will also be supported by this theme. And because I've built that schema in my head, saying no is very uncomplicated for me as a result of that. And I think that a lot of people have a hard time saying no because they don't know how to justify that no. And the first mistake is feeling like you need to justify your no. I think that all of us need to become a little less apologetic about when we don't want to invest our time in something. Time is the only thing you never get back. I mean, it's okay to be a little bit stingy with your time. When I talk about resolutions and why they make me so happy is because they provide me focus. They give me clarity. I know throughout the year where I'm going to put my energy, where I'm going to put my time, and it also helps me be unapologetic about where I will not put my energy and time. So when I think about New Year's resolutions, these are very tactical, they're very action-oriented, and I give myself a landscape, a pretty broad landscape, and I typically have them somewhere visible so that every day I wake up and I take a glance at them. They're not all time-bound the same way. Some of them are very flexible and loose, and I think that happens because it's such an embedded habit to always have my goals in mind as I build out the things I want to do in a day, that I don't necessarily need to worry about using a framework to be able to accomplish my goals. I also just had my birthday, and I do have birth year resolutions, but these are a lot more existential, so I only have 3. I have a social, aesthetic, and an intellectual goal for the year. So I can share those with you. I typically will not share my New Year's resolutions, and I think, it's a faux pas to ask someone what their resolutions are. I mean, these are very personal. It's like asking someone, what color underwear are you wearing? Not appropriate, not an appropriate question to ask. So I don't necessarily think, I'm like that with my goals. By way of my existential goals that I've established for my birth year, one of them is about reciprocal relationships. So I've decided that this year I'm going to focus on nurturing healthy, joy-infused reciprocal relationships, which means my energy isn't going anywhere else. We're all very busy, so it doesn't mean that I'm expecting high touch, high, contact friendships. I think I'm also not always available to the people that I love and care about. But I do want to reinforce that the relationships I'm holding on to for 2021, I am going to nurture, and I love that they're already based in a certain degree of reciprocity. For my intellectual goal, it coincides with me building this YouTube channel, and that's learning all things related to video editing, camera technology, lighting. I mean, I started end of December, and it is a world of fun. Like, this is so interesting, and I've never been someone who geeked out on things. I kind of geek out on concepts and abstract ideas, but I love geeking out on like mics and lighting and figuring out what lighting is the best lighting. And like my video editing is still fairly beginner, like it's not yet advanced. I'm still kind of at the beginner intermediate level, but I'd like to get better. So I've still been doing some master classes on video editing, and I'm hoping that as I put out each video, you see that the quality is enhancing. And this is going to be one of my existential goals, my intellectual existential goal for 2021. And my last one is aesthetic. And so for this goal this year, I want to delve deeper into color psychology. And I've always had, a light interest in it. I've always done some light reading on color psychology and the way different colors sort of influence us, and like the way that they sort of activate different emotions within us. And this year I want to do a real deep dive. Like I want to get really deep into color psychology. And I'm also going to play with the colors in my videos. I typically, in all the places that I've lived in, I've had friends tell me, Rochelle, you always stick with the same colors. Usually in my room, it's lime green, which is like my absolute favorite color. And then this turquoise is a second favorite. And then, I love gray. It is my favorite shade. And sunset, like a sunset orange for like a main room. Those are typically the colors that I bring with me everywhere I go. And I'm a nomad. I've moved to different places, and I find that I set every place up a little bit the same. So I want to delve into that a little bit more deeply and see if there's other colors that maybe I've not, given an equal chance to. As we start this new year, it's important for those of us who have goals and have things that we want to accomplish, if we don't want to feel disappointed by the end of the year and then lose sight on the value of resolutions and on building the year of the plan, that it's important we set ourselves up for success. And I think the way we set ourselves up for success is to create a focus and a clarity around those goals. And that focus and that clarity comes when those goals have a deeper meaning for you. And when they have that deeper meaning for you, you're better sort of positioned to protect your time so that you have the time to accomplish your goals. That's really important, because I think a lot of people think goal setting is a ridiculous activity, and why focus on the new year and all of these things. And I completely disagree. I think any collective new beginning is like everyone's energy is shifting at the same time. So everyone is thinking about the fact that the year is happening at the same time, and everyone is sort of getting themselves set up for a new year and hoping that things are different. Even if we know that it's a 24-hour difference between the 31st and the 1st, but there's still this sense of hope and anticipation because it's a new chapter. 2021 is now the date we put on the right-hand side of our pages when we're writing notes, So it is a new chapter. And I think that being mindful at the beginning of the year of where you want to put your energy, and I think a lot of us are, but being mindful of what strategies you need to incorporate so that you can keep your energy to invest in the goals that you set up is super important. And I think some of the ways that we do that are by having a focus and a clarity around why these goals are important to us, and then creating language that will establish boundaries with others who don't have a sense of what your goals are and who have their own goals that might encroach on your ability to complete your goals. So I think that it's really important that when we think about energy management, we think about how we create that focus and that clarity so that we can pursue our goals without worrying about time running out. What I invite you to do, I invite you to think of a theme. Why don't you put a theme to this year? And with that theme, why don't you set out, you don't need to do 25. For me, I do 25 because they're categorized across different areas in my life. So it's not actually, it's like, 5 different areas of my life, 5 goals for each of those areas. So, it actually doesn't seem like a whole lot when you break it down into chunks. But I invite you to build a theme for your year, and within that theme, highlight different goals that you feel will help you align to that theme, but make it all have meaning. Don't just pick a theme off the cuff. Like, what do you really want for yourself? What experiences do you want for yourself before this year is over? And set out a list of things that align with that. And then I would urge you to think about a calendar. Think about, timelines. how you would need to organize your time across, weeks, months, quarters, in order to ensure that you get at least, whatever the percentage done by the end of the year. And for everyone, like, the percentage completed is totally up to you. Like, when I first started my goals, I was super 100% of my goals need to be completed, but then I only had 15 goals. So it was easy for me to complete all of them. But like now, my goals have become a little bit more, like, some of them are conditional on factors that are external to me, and I can't necessarily do it if those factors aren't satisfied. So I give myself some flexibility. I give myself some leeway so that 85% still stands. What I'd like to talk about is how it changes the way you interact with the environment around you when you have that focus and clarity. When you have that focus and clarity, you don't give your time as generously as you would when you aren't sure where you want your time to go. So when we think about being assertive, I think that like a lot of people would call me assertive, and I think I can be firm about my yeses and my nos because I already know where I want my time to go. And if you want me to put my time in something that isn't within the theme of my year, there's a really strong why should I that pops up in my head. And if that why should I isn't satisfied, then it's a no for me, and I don't feel inclined to apologize for that no, to justify that no. It's just simply a no. It doesn't align with the way that I sort of envisioned my year unfolding. But if that why should I is satisfied, it's like, oh, well, this isn't something I thought about. This is something that's cool. I'd love to do this. But that doesn't happen as frequently. Like, I don't have this sense of regret because I've put my time into something that doesn't actually align with the things that I want to do. And I want a lot more of us especially, to be able to have a framework so that we feel that our energy is going into things that actually matter to us, into things that mean something to us. And I wanted to share my framework with you because I think once you have that focus, it's much easier to have conversations where you're letting people know, like, oh, well, these are the things that I like to do, or, I have things that are taking up my time, and feeling less inclined to be apologetic about that reality. Think about how people respond to our no's, and then how we value the people who respond negatively to our no's. I mean, to some degree, there's disappointment, but if someone is going to go on a rampage because you had the audacity to say no to them, maybe that tells you how much energy you put into those relationships as the year continues. We all need to respect that each of us have our own degree of autonomy that we are allowed to exercise without feeling pressured or harassed by those who want to encroach on our autonomy as they exercise their own. I mean, that's not okay. So hopefully that's not the way that we're setting ourselves up to approach this new year. And I think how you protect your time is, again, having that overarching theme for the year, having a strong sense of where you want to focus your time and energy, being realistic about the timelines and like how much time you actually need to complete those specific goals, and then protecting your time, because it's like, how much time you need, how much, excess time you have, and you want to whatever free time you've given yourself, you don't want to waste it. You want to spend it doing something that uplifts you and gives you joy and gives you happiness. So I think it's much easier to be assertive. It's much easier to set boundaries when you know what you're protecting, when you know what you're hoping to achieve as a byproduct of, not going a certain route. And I think when we think about goals are choices. Goals are decisions that we make. And the more that we put the time and thought into the choices that we make, the less that we offload those choices into other people, the more that we get a sense of our own locus of control. So for me, I'm always aware that I'm making a choice. Whether I'm doing something or not doing something, it is a choice. Whether I'm, maintaining a commitment or reneging on a commitment, these are all choices that I know are well within my locus of control. And I know that because I'm making these choices consciously and intentionally, because they're always against the frame of what it is that I want to accomplish for this year. And for everyone, it can be different, but I'd like to kind of use my own framework and my own strategies to kind of help and support you. But I think if we want to kind of teach the next generation about the power and implication of choice, the best way to model that is to align our behaviors and our actions and our energy with the choices that we know are going to benefit us, are going to lead to, us achieving something that makes us happy or that sets us up for, whatever the next best thing is. But there's a power and implication in choice that is very prevalent when one is sitting down and setting goals. Also, decision making. When I've chosen a certain path for the year, and I have that sort of top of mind in the back of my mind as I kind of navigate through my day, it informs the decisions that I make in a year. It informs my yeses and my nos. I'm never careless or kind of haphazard about my yeses or my nos. My yeses and my nos are very well thought out. They're very mindful. And I know that they're always with me in mind, and not in a selfish way, but in a, this is my personal journey. I'm trying to make the best of this life for as long as I have it. I can't do the things that don't contribute to my personal sense of peace, fulfillment, and satisfaction, unless, it satisfies a why should I, unless it satisfies something within me that I hadn't thought of yet. But it's important that you don't put your energy in things that just take your energy and you don't get any value back from it. So I guess that's what this video is about. I'm really not sure how long this video is going to be, but I wanted to give you some strategies as we're still in the new year. I mean, if you haven't done New Year's resolutions, you can still do them. And if you don't like to do New Year's resolutions because you think that they're kind of baseless, hopefully this new strategy, like having a theme for your year, setting up goals by different categories, having a sense of timelines, building out a bit of a calendar, will give you a better framework to find success in actually creating routines and creating a schedule that aligns with what you actually want to do and where you want to put your energy and what will bring you happiness, satisfaction, and peace. Please do comment down below what are some of your goals for 2021, what are some of the things that you'd like to have actualized, and I'd be happy to read whatever it is you are comfortable sharing, because I'm talking about, I'm like, hey, if there's something you want to share in the comments, if there's a strategy that you want to give other people by way of goal setting, please do leave that in the comments down below. We would all benefit from it, and I really do hope that everyone begins this new year with clarity, with focus, and they protect their time. Please do like, comment, and share this video. Send me a note if there are things that you want to talk about specifically, and I'll see you in the next one.